could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
From the world-famous Blackbird Studios, it's the Rave X Podcast. And now, Rave X.
Hell yeah, baby, it's the Rave X Podcast, episode 46, unnecessary movie sequels that shouldn't exist, or that you didn't even know existed. That's right, man. And you know, we get another sponsor for this show. Last week, we had a sponsor. So today's show is sponsored by Booty Trap. That's right, Booty Trap, premier gentlemen's club located in the heart of historic downtown Natick, Mass. That's right, kids, it's the Booty Trap. Come for the breast, stay for the wings, and let all your fantasies come true. Only at the Booty Trap. Guys, this is with the sponsors is horrible. I can't do this anymore. Last week it was Deets Nuts. Hold on, guys, I'm sorry. Yeah, last week this is, yeah. So go to the Booty Trap and bring a bag of Deets Nuts and watch some chicks strip or whatever you want to do. Booty Trap. Anyway, Rave X Podcast, episode 46, unnecessary movie sequels. We have a tight 5-point list here on movies that you didn't even know existed. Have you ever been looking through like Netflix or Hulu or whatever your streaming platform of choice is, and you see a movie with a 2 by it, and you're like, they made a part 2 to that movie? Like, no one even well, why did they do that? So these are some movies you guys didn't even know got made. And with that being said, children, let's dive in. So our first movie on the list came out in 2003, and you know, is a sequel to a Van Damme movie, man. And I used to really like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, I took a lot of martial arts, mostly hard form. Later on in my 20s, I switched to Kung Fu. But my only goal in Taekwondo was to be able to jump up, spin around, and do a goddamn Van Damme kick. You know, like a spinning crescent kick. So I would see all those movies, Kickboxer, Bloodsport, Cyborg. This movie, Time Cop 2. Guys, did we need a Time Cop 2? Was anyone clamoring for a Time Cop 2? The first Time Cop was I liked it. It was a good movie. Van Damme was trying to get away from everything being a martial arts movie. So the title gives it away, kids. Spoilers. He's a time cop. And, he's going through time to try to right the wrongs and stuff and catch this senator who's a bad guy. And I thought it was an entertaining movie. So in 2003, they made Time Cop 2 starring Jason Scott Lee, who, if you remember, Jason Scott Lee actually played Bruce Lee in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. And this movie is straight to DVD. I don't think it ever got any release. Most of these movies are straight to DVD, so I probably don't have to say that. But yeah, unnecessary movie sequels that shouldn't exist. Number 5, starring Jason Scott Lee, 2003's Time Cop 2. Oh, here's another winner. In 2006, they got an actress named Nikki DeLoach. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. And she did a sequel to the Sandra Bullock movie that came out in the 90s called The Net. Now, in the 90s, the internet wasn't really what it was now, but it was getting there, and people could sort of see the writing on the wall. You know, like in the future, they're going to be able to steal your identity, and there's going to be nothing you can do, because it's the internet, bro. And so that movie, The Net, with Sandra Bullock, was an okay movie. But in 2006, they made The Net 2.0, bro. Yeah, what are you going to do now? Now, of course, Sandra Bullock isn't coming back for this dumpster fire of a movie. So they get Nikki DeLoach to play Sandra Bullock's character in The Net 2.0. It's just horrible. It's an unnecessary sequel that nobody wanted or asked for. And that's number 4 on our list. Moving on, kids. So, as I mentioned earlier, I was a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, and one of the movies that I really liked of his was called Cyborg. And he was pretty young when this movie came out, and I really enjoyed it, man. It was just a futuristic movie. There's this chick, she's a cyborg, but she's got, like, information in her head that they have to get someplace. That's always the thing with these post-apocalyptic movies. You have to get someone from point A to point B. And the movie Cyborg came out in like the 90s, I think, 1990, 91, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, was no different. So they decided in 1993, hey, you know what? Let's get a relatively unknown actress named Angelina Jolie. That's right, kids, that Angelina Jolie, starring in this hot piece of garbage called Cyborg 2. And I think the tagline was something like, they thought they made the perfect woman, but they were wrong, bro. Yeah. Cyborg 2 is number 3 on the list of incredibly unnecessary movie sequels. Now, number 2, I didn't even know existed till I was researching for this show. This blew my mind, and I like to think that I'm pretty up on media and, pop culture and all that stuff. I have never heard of this movie, and chances are you guys have never heard of this movie either. In 2008, they made a sequel to, I think, the 1983 Matthew Broderick, Ali Sheedy movie, War Games. Remember War Games? And the whole thing is the computer thinks it's playing a game, but it's really like full-on global nuclear war. Remember that? War Games? Because we thought computers were scary in the 80s. So this movie, 2008, War Games 2, The Dead Code. Bro, this computer's got a code, but it's a dead code, bro. And I think the tagline to this dumpster fire was, we're not playing games anymore, or something like that. It was horrible. And, sometimes with these movies, what they do is, it's a continuation without the original actor, and it's not supposed to be the original actor. Kind of like Predator 2, right, where the Predator's back, and I think the tagline for that was, with a few days to kill. And he's in Chicago, and he has to deal with Danny Glover, because Schwarzenegger didn't want to come back for that. He was doing, Total Recall. So War Games 2, The Dead Code, stars Matt Lanter and Amanda Walsh as Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy. So they're supposed to be those characters from 1983, 20 years later. Guys, no one heard of this movie. I don't even think they have it at that red box, at the grocery store. They got the videos you can get. This movie, not even straight to DVD, straight to vinyl, straight to 8-track. Horrible, horrible crap sandwich of a movie. War Games 2, The Dead Code. Jesus. Number 1 on this list, kids, was such a disappointment to me because I really like the original. I'm a huge fan of the Christian Bale classic American Psycho, and I think that came out in the late 90s or something, 98, 99. Yeah, I really like this movie. One of my all-time favorites, and there's a lot of debate as to if what happens in the movie, what you're seeing, is reality. And I always thought it was all in his head. The movie's kind of a comedy in a sense, a tragic comedy about this yuppie in the 80s. And there's this one scene where he freaks out because someone has a better business card than him. And I thought that scene was so amazing because it really does show you how a full-blown narcissist reacts to things. And he's a killer. If you take the movie at face value, he's a horrible psychopathic killer. But I think in reality, he's just a full-blown narcissist. And the interesting thing is, I've met people like that, where they're so egocentric and they're so self-absorbed that, when I showed a buddy of mine years ago a guitar that I had bought, I could see him visibly getting uncomfortable because it was better than his guitar. Why? Well, he's a full-blown narcissist. I mean, I've known people and I've had roommates that were like that if your business card is better than theirs, they will freak the F out. So anyway, they decided, guess what, kids? We're going to make a sequel. And Christian Bale did not come back for this horrible, horrible, nonsensical movie that came out in 2002 starring Mila Kunis called American Psycho 2. And I think the tagline was deadlier, sexier, something or whatever. And the way they spun this into the American Psycho sort of world was Christian Bale's character, Jason Bateman, one of them's an actor, one of them's his character. He holds a family hostage in their house, and he kills them all one by one. But the daughter, who is Mila Kunis, somehow gets the drop on him and kills him, and now she becomes the new American Psycho. Now she's a psychopath, because everybody knows that's how it works. If someone stole your car, and you found the people who stole your car, now guess what? You're going to become a car thief. The whole thing is just so stupid. I mean, they crapped all over the first movie, which was a goddamn classic. And it's funny because they have a guy who kind of looks like Christian Bale in the movie in the beginning, when you kind of see what happens and how she was traumatized by this killer breaking into her house. And they can't show his face because it's not him, Christian Bale. So he's got that mask on. There's a scene in the beginning of the original where he says, I wake up and I run through my routine, and if my eyes look a little puffy, I wear my ice mask for approximately 14 minutes. So he's got the ice mask over his eye. It's so stupid. He's in a bathrobe. American Psycho 2. There you go, kids. All-time worst sequel of a movie that absolutely, positively should not exist. Now, Bonus round, kids. I got 2 more. I like to keep it to a tight 5. We're going to do 2 more for the bonus round, okay? The first one is The Cell Part 2. Now, I remember the first movie, The Cell, starring Jennifer Lopez. It came out in 2000, and Vincent D'Onofrio, I believe, who played Kingpin and Daredevil on Netflix. Now, this was kind of a weird movie. I never got it. Like, it's like they're inside each other's brain and freaky, wibbly-wobbly stuff happens, and it's just a freak fest of a movie. Now, The Cell 2 came out in 2009, has nothing to do with the original. I believe the actress they got, whose name is Tessa Santiago, was supposed to be Jennifer Lopez's character. Now, the funny thing is, we were talking about The Net with Sandra Bullock. Tessa Santiago, I haven't heard anything from her. She's probably doing Law & Order episodes now, but she looks like a Latina version of Sandra Bullock. And I'll put a picture up on the YouTube video if you watch the YouTube video. She looks like a Latina Sandra Bullock. She could have had a huge career, beautiful girl. Maybe she is a great actress, I don't know. I didn't waste my time watching The Cell 2 that no one cared about or asked for. And the last one, very last one, they made a sequel to a movie that was kind of become like a cult classic of like a comedy, Mean Girls. You guys remember Mean Girls? Yeah. When I first heard about that, I thought it was like a little teenage movie for kids and stuff like that, but it's actually a really funny movie with Lindsay Lohan. So in 2011, with nothing to do with the original and no one from the original, they decided to make Mean Girls 2 starring Megan Martin because they couldn't even get Lindsay Lohan to come back for this hot piece of dumpster garbage. So there you have it, kids. 7 incredibly unnecessary movie sequels that you didn't even know existed. And you know what? I watched most of these horrible movies so that you wouldn't have to. And you know, you can thank me later. Now, gotta get on to some business. Some people have been asking me, if your show is a podcast, why is it on YouTube? Well, I'm a visual person, and I like putting the show up on YouTube because it's free and it's easy and you can subscribe to it. And you know, when you watch the YouTube version, you get a little extra. You know, you get some visuals, me walking around town. A lot of times I'll throw up some words on the screen. And if you're not into the visual podcast, I call it Podcasting Evolved, baby. And if you're not into that, you can go to ravexmusic.bandcamp.com and download an episode, any episode you want, this very episode right now, and you can take it with you, kids. That's right. Now, our next order of business is this. I just put out a song about a week ago. It's called Scavengers. Now, the video, hey, from what I've been told, it's not for everyone, but you guys know me, man. A little shock and awe here and there, you know what I mean? So go to YouTube, type in Scavengers V8, or type in Rave X Music, and you will find this incredibly amazing new song that I just wrote. I also uploaded some behind-the-scenes footage of some test effects that didn't quite make the cut. Well, kids, thanks for tuning into the Rave X Podcast, episode 46. I was an amazing host. You were an okay audience. Nah, I give you like a 7 out of 10, you know what I mean? Anyway, do me a favor, kids. Remember this. Great minds think alike, though fools seldom differ. My name's Rave X. Enjoy yourself!
That was the Rave X Podcast. Be sure to click like and subscribe. For podcasts, new music, and all things Rave X, go to youtube.com and search Rave X Music.